my research area essentially started in microbiology, and so I was a trained microbiologist, and I studied infection of the skin particularly, so bacterial and viruses and so all sorts of things like that. But what I got interested in is how the body responds to infection and basically how it can get rid of it. And part of that process is that the immune system will come in and get rid of the bacteria, but then the body has to heal itself afterwards as well. And so I got really intrigued with the healing processes, particularly in the skin. And so I essentially changed over time to how can I harness those healing responses to help fight infection, to help promote wound healing, how to dampen scarring and fibrosis and perhaps even tumours in the skin. I have two aims essentially. One is I would really like to develop some new therapeutics that can promote healing of the likes of chronic ulcers, help burns patients and protect them while they're going through that healing process and get the body working better during that healing, and to limit the damage associated with the healing as well, so dampening that scarring. But not only developing new products, I want to actually try and make sure the products we do have, the different wound healing therapies, the antimicrobials and the likes, are actually used properly, and that we're not just putting any old thing onto those wounds, and that we're not actually preventing that healing responses and preventing the body from doing its job. So a little bit of a quality control part and a little bit of a develop something new part. I've sort of transitioned. I started in the host infection type study and moved over time to how can I harness what I know and develop these new therapeutics and I guess new drugs, and I think what I do, the translational aspects of product development, fits far better with the pharmacology department, and yeah, there's like-minded people here. The breadth of skills we have in our lab is phenomenal. So we run from very basic genetic, molecular type techniques. We do a lot of cell biology where we can actually work with different cells from the skin, and we can actually grow artificial skin in the lab and test the products on those, which is really awesome. But we also do a number of animal type models of healing processes and infection processes, and we have collaborators for actually taking these products into large animals and moving them through into humans as well, so work with clinicians as well. So we run right from the very basic molecular right through to the clinical application, and so the techniques we have are pretty cool. Students can learn right from the basics of how do we develop these drugs, or how do we discover these drugs and how do we develop them, right through to how can we apply them and are they safe, through to how would a clinician or a patient actually, somebody at home, how would they apply these, is it practical, is it useful, and so they get to go right, what is it, lab to bedside or whatever it is. The simplicity of studying skin is lovely. We can test things really easily, but it's not just about healing in the skin. The wound healing process is involved everywhere in our body. It's part of every disease. It's associated with healing any part of your body that undergoes infection, undergoes damage, and anything we can apply to the skin, the processes, potentially we could apply to healing the heart, we could apply to healing the kidney, we could even the brain as well. The same healing processes are important in everything, and those same healing processes can go awry in the likes of cancer and contribute to pathologies in that way. And so the more we know about healing, the more chances we have of improving all of these different disorders. So I really like that every little thing we learn can actually help. Everything we do is working towards making these therapies better, it's making people's lives better, and every little bit of knowledge improves how we use all these different treatments, and so you feel good because you're contributing. On the day-to-day level, we play with some really cool things, and we make beautiful images, and just the techniques we use are really fun. So we actually enjoy our everyday as well as the what we can accomplish as well. I think it's really important to study pharmacology and toxicology because there are so many drugs that are part of our everyday society. We are constantly using those, but we're not necessarily understanding what they do to our bodies completely. We know they'll help a certain disease, but we don't understand what other impacts they're having, and when we're using multi-drugs together, what those impacts are. And while we think they're absolutely fantastic therapeutics, there's so many different things we need to know about it and how to use them safely. And I think, So I think it's important to not only understand the impact of those drugs on our bodies with regards to treatment, but also the negative effects as well, and are we using these properly and in the safest way we can. So that's more the toxicology side of it as well.